What is up, everyone? So, I want to do something a little special today. I want to go down memory lane with me, right? So, it's practically, I know we all growing up, we had TV shows we watched as either like a preschooler to high schooler. We always had like TV shows we watched or stuff that we liked, right? So, as you can see, I'm on YouTube and I'm looking at like a bunch of stuff, right? You know, because I like to watch some jokes, crazy stuff, like whatever, right? So, I thought do be really interesting. I show you all some kids TV shows that I don't know how many of you probably either remember or never heard of, or let me rephrase that. If you have probably never heard of it, or if you have heard of it, you remember it or not, right? So this is not really a kid friendly thing. This is just me going back to remember what I liked as a kid. Now, please know I am going to leave stuff out like Barney. Like that's obvious. I'm leaving Barney out. Teletubbies, they really weren't my thing, but so I'm gonna actually just go like through a few of the kid friendly shows back when I was a kid, or like when I was a baby, or practically before or halfway through middle school. Some of the good shows that we had back then. So let me get into it. So to start off simply, um, so I know a big topic in today's world is diversity, right? So if you ask me what was a good show that had diversity back when I was like a little kid, the one that taught me to see people as people and not as the skin color, it's gonna be this video that we're gonna watch, or the opening to the show that I'm talking about. Now, if you all don't know the show, let me explain the backstory to it real quick. So I think it was like either 93 or 94. I can't really remember. We had the LA riots practically. For those who don't know, there was a guy named Rodney King who got like brutalized by the cops, if I remember correctly. And practically it just took like this it took LA and just practically burned it down for what it was at the time. Um and apparently like you had a lot of issues going on, right? You had blacks versus whites, you had blacks versus Asians, you had Asians versus whites. It was like really bad back then what it is compared to now, because we were actually on the brink of a war. And I'll be one of the few people that say I think this show actually did a lot to end the fucking end the problems that we had. So let's watch the opening, and then I will explain more like why this was such a good memory to me. So here we go.
I know something Julie that I want to share. I know somewhere. Katie. Let me.
Okay, so as you can see, it's the puzzle place, man. This was a really good show. Really wished that it was it had more episodes, man. Because if you don't know the history, I'm gonna go back to playing more of this. But if you didn't know, like you had so we had like season one and season two and season three. But season two was actually, well, two and three were supposed to be the same season, but they lost funding halfway through season two. So because of that, they had to give the rest of season three. But as you see, we had an Asian girl. I think this girl was a Samoan. The fucking German guy, which is pretty fucking sweet to me, in my idea. Um, let's go back.
With me to find it. It's everywhere.
The the black dude from South New York was fucking. I'm not gonna lie, he was my favorite character. This guy kept it straight. I'm not even gonna fucking lie.
Let's get going. Don't wanna be too late. Got a feeling things will work out great.
Native American dude, man. I miss this show so much right now. I wish we could find it on DVD, but I don't think they ever made it on DVD. I think it was on VHS and then they just like fucking quit.
Come on in.
Then we had the Jewish girl, which I'll be honest, okay? I didn't know Judaism was a thing until like this show, until I saw the show. I remember watching this thing all the way up to like I think sixth grade is when I stopped watching it, or I think that's when it got pulled off the air where I lived.
Everybody. Jody. Let's celebrate.
The puzzle place. We're going to the puzzle place. Sizzle and Nuzzle are a double treat, and the police are on the beat. The puzzle place. The puzzle place.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop right there because this isn't. But practically, what I think was the best part about the show, right, was how like you had diversity, but then you had like they weren't like this was like if I remember correctly, the puzzle place wasn't like a place that physically exists. It was like a little neutral dream world like thing. Practically, you had the cats and you had a cat and a dog that constantly lived there. You had this thing called the Peace Police, where practically you couldn't get angry or get mad. You had to be peaceful and handle problems civilized and everything. And this show had like a lot of good things, right? So let me get back quick. So let's see, like some of the best topics this show has ever provided, right? Um, let's see. What were some of the best ones I remember? I got a little everything here. Let me look quick. Okay. Okay. Making fun of people's names. That was actually a good episode. We had that. Um, respecting others' beliefs and religion. That was actually pretty cool. That one was. I see how that one could have been like controversial too. I remember that one had an issue. Let's see. What's another one here that was that was I think a good episode. Oh, this one like they actually had a wheelchair character that appeared in one episode in season 3. And I think that one was actually good. It taught you how to deal with people with physical disabilities. And they had a mental health episode, which was, I think, was actually really neat. But overall, I think this was a really good show, man. I wish that we had something like this now, man. But how bad, like, the U.S. fucking makes TV, it's not even worth bringing it back. Because all they're going to do is make it, like, instead of focusing on you, like, focus on being united, they're just going to make it all about race. It's fucking stupid. So that's one episode I remember as a kid that I liked. So the next one I want to talk about was actually an old Disney show that I remember watching. And I remember watching this thing all the way up to high school. I think it got canceled in 2004, 2005. I can't really remember. I think it went from like TV show to a like live show. But I think the issue was that if I remember correctly, like reason this show died is because they bought the Muppets around the same time, and the woman who did the voice of Luna was actually actually passed away, so I think that's why they never brought it back. But this was a good show. For anyone who didn't know, this was practically labeled the opposite of Barney. So if you didn't for those who remember Barney, right? Barney was known for being this giant, friendly kid acting dinosaur, practically this giant ass kid dinosaur. And what this was practically the opposite effect. This is more of a father figure. And I think this was one of the best shows. So if you remember this opening, then you remember a good show. But let's get into it. Yeah, it's what you saw. Oh man, this is gonna be fucking good. I remember the show too much. I'm actually feeling a little sad that I'm watching these things because I know good television is no longer around.
Welcome to the Blue House.
Hello, I'm the small mouse.
Things to do.
Fun for you.
Howdy from the Big Bear. Want some fun?
Here's where
Just for you.
all is new in the House of Blue. Lots of room at our house.
Catch the moon at our house.
Kitchen's here. Bathroom's there.
Attic full of stuff here.
I just fucking love this show, man. I miss it so much, man. Also, I think like a few things about this show. It had like a really good variety of characters, right? So you had Bear, you had the sun, you had a moon, you had 2 otters, you had a shadow character, which was just called Shadow. You had a baby bear. I don't know what their relation was. I think this was one of the better shows. I wish this was something that was still around, man.
Pillows full of fluff here. Just
I forgot about the hyperattention fucking lemur shit. Also, one thing about this show that I forgot, I know a lot of people don't remember, but this show actually had a good message to people who suffer with autism. For those who don't remember, around this time, I think we had a hard time with understanding autism at the moment or whatever. But this show actually helped out a lot of people with autism, and like I said, I wish this was still in the air. I wish we could find physical copies of it. I think there's a DVD, but it only has like 6 or 7 episodes on it, man. But yeah.
for you in the House of Blue. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Big Blue House.
Why can my friends do this when I come hang out with them motherfuckers? I should scold them for this shit.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the big blue house. Door is open.
Come on in.
Now you're here, so let's begin.
Oh man, I fucking love the show. I wish, like I said, I wish it was still around, but they didn't. Probably, like if you like can find a copy of this, watch the show. This show is actually really helpful. I recommend it if you have a kid with autism, because this show helped out a lot of kids with autism. I know I have a few friends who can back up that claim. So, but yeah, that's the end of this episode. And for the last, like going down memory lane thing I want to go down to is this thing. Now, if you remember this opening, like based on that, congratulations, you grew up in a good time, man. Now this was a 90s show, early in the morning Nickelodeon show, or Nick Jr. as they used to call it back then. I don't think they still have that, right? So this was another kids show. And I think it taught some good values. It actually explored stuff I don't think a lot of other shows did real well exploring. Like imagination wasn't one thing. Like if I told you one thing, what pops in my head and what pops in your head was a good one. Like for example, they were explaining to one character like what a rhino was, and and they were trying to explain like, and you just saw the guy's imagination like trying to imagine what the rhino was, and it was funny too because they're like, oh, a rhino has a horn, and you know like what a rhino horn is, right? The guy thought it had like a fucking like tuba or something for a horn, which I thought was one of the craziest things. So we're going to go ahead and watch this.
Now this is very interesting reading.
Okay, yes, it's Riga Castle, but dude, that was like the most creative fucking opening ever. I don't care who you are.
Yeah. Oh, look, my castle music box. Ring!
Yeah, so practically this took place on a music box, but which was a really interesting concept. I still think this was a really good show, man. It had like variety of characters, variety of stuff. Also, if you don't know, like there's a dragon in the show, and that's also that guy who does the dragon also did Bear from the last portion of this video.
Ready? Here we go.
Oh, wow. What? Where?
God damn the fucking bat. I remember the old timer mouse, dude. That thing, whoa. Oh yeah.
Well, I know.
Guys. Ready. Ready. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. You. Oh. Who? You see.
I know the bad part about like I remember watching this on TV. Like they usually cut, I think a good chunk of this out because I don't remember most of this. But yeah.
Who, me?
No, you. Don't you see?
Eureka's Castle.
If y'all, for anyone who doesn't know, right? Practically Eureka was like some type of witch, if I remember correctly, and she just had like a bunch of friendly stuff. But they tackled like a bunch of issues like communication, proper negotiation, stuff like that, right? So like a bunch of kids stuff that I think is necessary nowadays.
It's you.
Gee, me.
Gee, what a wonderful place to be.
Castle.
Castle. Castle.
God damn, I'm old.
Us, they, you, me. 1, 2, 3. Castle.
Fucking Duke got some moves.
Castle.
Eureka's.
Now, like I said, this one was kind of hard to like describe this one, like to tell you like what I remember. All I remember, like if you can find this, right? Like I know there's videos on YouTube. There's like an entire playlist. Watch it. This is something I recommend you get kids into ASAP. Okay, one of the best shows ever to exist, man. This thing was 90% my childhood. I'm not even going to fucking lie. But I hope y'all do enjoy. Next time I make one of these videos, I will be making practically my teenage to I guess my early 20s. So I hope y'all enjoy. Bye.